Welcome to our Professional Primer Roundtable, our series to help you navigate the tricky world of business etiquette. Joining us today is Karen Huff, founder and CEO of Improv Edge, Bob Pakanovsky, founder and president of the Vation Group, and Tanya Etiquette, chief success strategist of Promoting University, LLC. The world of business etiquette can prove tricky even for the most seasoned business professionals. Karen, what business etiquette basics should professionals always remember?
There are a lot, and they're changing, as we know. Number one that I think should never go away is a good thank you note. It doesn't necessarily have to be handwritten. Email is a fine way to do this. I'm not very happy with the text thank you. I have seen people use this, but in some way you need to thank people for their time, for their attention. This is also something that you can use internally, wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be just for people from the outside. You need to be thanking the people within your internal network all the time.
Well, the list could be endless in terms of.
It's true.
Because I think sometimes people take for granted that that they know how to do things or that they're being perceived the right way. And, you've heard the saying that we get hired for hard skills, but you stay hired for soft skills. So not only besides the thank you, but, it's that eye contact. It's that handshake. It's how you treat other people. And you show up on time for a lunch meeting or a meeting, and, do you have your cell phone out at every meeting? I'm hearing a lot more from different companies saying that they're really starting to get more upset about the fact that these meetings are taking a lot longer because everybody's on their cell phone. So it's, what I call it is all these thoughts are common sense thoughts, but I challenge people is that to make them common practice.
And one of the standard practices that I've seen almost everywhere is that the person who is live in front of you is more important than the person on the phone.
Oh, I agree.
And this seems to be something that we cannot get right. If a text or even a phone call comes in, especially if you're serving a client, it has to wait. Now you can say, "One moment, please. I'll be right with you," and put it back down. You have to deal with the human being that is live in front of you first.
Or give them a warning that I'm expecting a call, and I wouldn't say any call. It would have to be a pretty important call for you to have to take that in the middle of a meeting. Especially, we've talked about looking for a job and along the lines of interviewing. I have seen that happen.
In an interview?
Yes, answering a call.
Oh my gosh.
The other one that I would say that is really amazing to me, and you talked about common sense, is your body language, and I know that you're a big proponent of this.
Yes.
Literally to the point of sitting crisscross applesauce style in front of someone, when you're networking. So that the sense of maybe being a little too overly familiar and thinking that that's okay. People are paying attention to all of those things. You've got to disconnect. You've got to be aware of how you're coming across.
And again, as we sort of check off that list of basics that we've got to have you worked on your elevator pitch? Who you are, what you do, and why we should care. Can you shake someone's hand and say out loud what you do? And have you practiced it out loud?
And not kill their hand.
And not kill their hand, right?
That's a new one I'm seeing.
That's happened to me too. I know.
Shove it back.
And if you're supposed to have business cards, do you have them on you all the time? There's just little old, simple, check the box, make sure you've got it. You'll be set.
Absolutely.
Like you mentioned, Karen, some of these etiquette rules are older and seems like they've been expected for decades. What are some that you see that are changing?
Certainly business cards. You don't always have to have them because you can immediately share that information, which is great. I think the more that we can become as technologically advanced as possible, the better. Strangely enough, also, we tend to network without having to know so much about a person, and I think that building that trust is key. So LinkedIn is a great place, but again, I don't ask to link with someone that I haven't met. A lot of people are out there just sort of trolling, saying, "Gosh, your profile looks great. Let's link in and you can give me a job." Not really impressive. I link in with people that I'm about to have a meeting with, or I say, "I so enjoyed reviewing this. Would you please link in?" So I do think we need to, again, as you said, go back to your basics, think about best perceptions, and use these in a way that's smart and professional and thoughtful.
Tanya, any thoughts about etiquette rules?
And she stated it beautifully. I also think, too, that because we have access to one another's cell phones so much, to not overuse that. So just because your boss has given you his or her phone number, or a person when you're networking with them, is to not overstep those boundaries and be respectful of when you can call them and what type of a situation would require you calling them outside of the work environment on their personal phone.
So as technology is changing, Bob, how would you suggest people kind of go about embracing it as far as business is concerned without, like Karen mentioned, overstepping it? Like you're not requesting people on Pokemon Go left and right. So how would you suggest they go about that?
Well, it's here. I mean, it's, in the days of the rotary phone are long dead and buried.
Sadly.
So, I mean, we all have to embrace it. Now, what I tell people is that part of it, I think you also have to be aware of who you're working with, and that can you have that adaptation to what they're doing right now. So say, for example, that if I'm a 25-year-old new business person and I'm dealing with someone who's 63, boy, the fact that I'm going to be texting him or her probably may not go over as well. So going back to your point, Karen, of having a conversation, how would you like for me to best work with you? Is it by the phone? Because those people really want that voice interaction. They want to talk to you. It's that personal relationship versus some of the younger generation is all about, okay, just let me get this over with and let me send it. Well, now we're seeing people just really not understanding each generation. Well, you have that conversation. Here's what I like, but tell me how I can make it easier for you.
It's a communication style preference as
It
well,
is, yeah.
because I have some people who are boomers. I'm a Gen Xer, and they actually love to text. And I might personally be more of a pick up the phone type person. So we do have the generational broad brushstrokes that we describe, and yet it is a personal preference. Some people get very overwhelmed by instant messaging, and they really do not prefer to keep that on or work with that style of communication. And yet, if someone insists, I think there should be that respect back and forth.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed watching this video, head to ohiocpa.com for more professional primer articles and go to our YouTube channel where we have more professional primer videos.